So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman, and I partner with Dinah Hunter and Gary Knapp. And we love being with you here every Saturday morning or whenever you happen to be able to be reviewing this information. We know Saturdays can be busy for many people. We're really privileged to have Tait Switzer here today. Tait has extensive experience in scientific affairs, product development, and regulatory affairs within the pharmaceutical and healthcare industries. He's come over to from the dark side now, though, to us. With a focus on overseeing research and development, quality assurance, and clinical studies, Tait has been instrumental in the global expansion of product lines for various markets. With a background in biology and executive education in strategy and innovation, Tait brings a diverse skill set to their leadership roles in companies such as Mannatech and Sovereign Pharmaceuticals. As Vice President of Research and Development, Tait has overseen studies, quality assurance, and innovation in Mannatech's unique technologies. And, what we're going to be talking today about everything that we have so much in Mannatech and how so proud we can be of what we have. So, Tait, thank you for immediately saying yes. I'm deeply appreciative. And so is everybody.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for that introduction. And I did start my career in pharmaceuticals. Specifically, what I did there was the pharmaceutical drug dosage form development. So that's, people think, oh, you're bending molecules, making new drugs. There were other scientists that did that. But what I was responsible for was actually putting together the dosage form, the tablet, the capsule, whatever it is that they wanted the active ingredient to go into. And then, as you know, with some medications, they'll have a prompt release medication, and then they'll have some medications that will, carry out over 8 or 12 hours. I would actually develop the dosage form that would release the drug at those given intervals. Also did, the various syrups and elixirs. Probably the most complex dosage form that I was responsible for and helped with was a dosage form for a heart medication. And many of the heart attacks, a lot of heart attacks occur between the hours of 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning when the body's waking up and things like that. So they wanted a dosage form that someone could take at 10 p.m. and it would hold that drug, right up until 4 a.m. And, to do that, we had to shoot a laser a certain depth into the tablet and things like that. And, it was a profound dosage form, patentable. We were doing all the things with that. And we get the dosage form developed and it's ready to go. And we actually decided to sell off the technology, and the company that bought the technology then buried that technology because they didn't want to compete against it. So that's one of the things that started me looking, because it wasn't like we just worked on that a couple of months. It was a multi-year. I was in the drug industry about 7 years, and it was a that getting to that, I did, other things while working on it, but that was years. And, I had people on my team that were working on this for years, and to just have it buried, it was really kind of gut wrenching. So I started to look, did a couple of interviews, came across this company called Mannatech. There was a recruiter, and he goes, hey, you need to go look at it. There's something there that, it just sounds right for you. So, I come in and I interview, and it was an interview with Dr. McAnally at the time. That's going back several years. But anyway, I started looking at this stuff, and they were telling me, and I'm like, okay, I've been in, pharmaceuticals for, 7 years, and I go, I've never heard of this. Okay, so you have something for cellular communication, and you have an aloe, and I knew aloe, efficacious, and had all sorts of benefits, but you're telling me that you've isolated the active component of aloe, and what it, and things like that. So it really turned my interest, like as a scientist. I was a skeptic when I first got. I came on saying, yeah, I really don't believe this, but I want to, I want to see what it's about. And, lo and behold, the one of the first things, I do, I get to see the process for making Maniple, and I started doing testing on it, things like that, the polysaccharides that's showing up in it, the molecular weight that it maintains to maintain and actually be Ace Man, and it's it's there, and it's different from everything else in the industry. And they have these, the theories on these sugars and things like that, and the biochemistry books are then putting out that, hey, it's sugars that are doing the communication and things like that. So it's something, that's where I made the transition over into the nutritional supplement industry, and have just been addicted to it ever since, because the scientific research that's going on now, and especially around what Mannatech specializes in, it's really it's overwhelming. I mean, there is a ton of data coming in that shows how beneficial these sugars, these glycans, really are.
Wow. I'm just sitting here having waves and waves of goosebumps. I feel so privileged to have stumbled onto this, 26 years ago. And, it's like the best kept secret for health and well-being, isn't it? So, I mean,
Yes.
that's an incredible journey to transit from, sort of, I don't want to go mainstream to alternative, but mainstream to progressive, maybe. And what do you see, where do you see Mannatech's unique giving in this industry?
Mannatech, it's unique in the fact that, okay, we have R&D group. It's kind of it's a group that we've now termed scientific affairs, because we do R&D, product development, quality assurance, clinical studies, the product science and substantiation of the claims. And also, one of the most important is safety monitoring and adverse event reporting, because the last thing that we want to have out there on the market is a product that's doing harm, or if it's if we're getting too many, giving people too much gas or something like that. And that's where Mannatech, since the day I was involved, even before I came on at Mannatech, they had that adverse event and safety monitoring program. And that wasn't required in the US for the dietary supplement industry until, I think, around 2017, maybe. So it's something that Mannatech pioneered. People are going, why are you doing that? Why are you? And it's like, we owe it to the customer, and we want to have records of safety. We want to have this thing. So that's really an area that is novel to Mannatech. Our quality assurance is also, when we put together a product, it's tested at the manufacturer, each lot, and things like that. And then what we do to even verify that their methodology is correct, if they have a compendial USP method for testing something, we review that, but then we will also take it and send it out. We'll make sure we'll send it to different labs than what they had the testing done at, or at their facility if they have a laboratory testing facility. And we'll have it tested at another lab and make sure the results come back within an acceptable parameter, so that we know when they're testing it that their testing is accurate. Because there's we have a lot of kind of unique and herbal ingredients and things like that, and we want to make sure that what we're measuring is, we're actually getting the measurement on that. So there's a lot of companies that just take their manufacturer's C of A and say, okay, that's it. We go a step further and say, hey, we trust you. We do believe you. We're out there and we audit you and see all that stuff, but we're going to take it another level and send it out and just get a confirmation on that. And so it's really one of the things that, it gives the group here a lot of confidence on the products that we sell and make. And, when it comes in batch to batch, we know that, hey, the results we're getting are accurate.
Mm. And I haven't researched this in a while, but I'm when I last did, it's less than a handful of companies that are really working at that step standard in this industry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really very, very few that go to that level, and it's one of the things that, that I'll say, Mannatech, we have the FDA in here. Uh Quite often they review what we do. They give it, there's a, it is, the FDA likes to make it sound like it's an unregulated industry, where a lot of it is, but they hold us to a very strict accountability. And it's also with uh also what goes on in Australia, the things that are through the therapeutic goods, the listed medicines and things like that. There's we have to participate with those, with our manufacturers there as well,
Mm.
because that, and that's one of the things that, it's difficult. It does cost money, but it also gives a lot of credence to products that carry, the made in Australia, and they have the Austell number and things like that. Those are going to be high as we expand into the Austral, the Asia part of that. That's what they want to see,
Mm.
because there's a level of trust there. And that's one of the things that, I know it's a little bit later, on down, but that's one of the things I really think Australia has going for it, is just the it's has its concise regulations and requirements to make a quality product, and the world definitely respects that.
I have to control myself from doing an eyeball roll when you say the word TGA, because some of the stuff they ban here is just incredible. But anyway, there is the good side. I'm glad you pointed that out, Tate. That it means that its quality standards are very well regulated and I guess investigated or controlled.
Mhm.
And so, are there any study that are happening that you can talk about that's ongoing, right? Well, maybe historic. What kind of studies has Mannatech done on our
Yeah,
nutrients and outcomes to
you
date,
know,
and then what's coming forward?
okay, historically, what we've seen, we've done a lot of different. We did antioxidant testing on our AO product, and just to give an idea there, that the results on that, we've shown on a couple of different studies, it gets about 34 to 36% improvement into the uh, blood serum ORAC. And that it's actual blood. It's not an ORAC ran on the ingredient. It's your blood. It produces 36% more effective in in supporting your oxidative needs. So that's one that's very prolific. Probably I'll go ahead and say my favorite study is it's a study that was done down in Australia at two different universities. Neither of the universities knew that the other university was working on it, and so it was almost like a double crossover, double blind study. And I can remember sitting down with at the time it was Dr. Sinnott, and we had a Dr. Rolando Medella, and we were putting that clinical together. And, and Dr. Medella was like, he goes, we want to take a look at, he goes, certainly at time zero, he goes, but let's put a point in there to test at 45 minutes. And, just at the time, clinicals are expensive. The cost for that was like $45,000. And I'm responsible for the R&D budget, and Rob's kind of, Dr. Sinnott's looking at me, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of money, and it's on ambertose, and at the time, even I was thinking these are huge polysaccharides. It's got to be something going on, not your residence time in the stomach is 2 to 4 hours, so maybe let's make it 2 hours, or or some on there to where we can see some effect. And Rolando, he was like, he goes, and he's a medical doctor. He's like, what I'm hearing in the field, he goes, I'm hearing there's an effect at under an hour, and he goes,
Goosebumps.
he goes, I want to validate it. He goes, I either want to validate it or invalidate it. So he can have the answer. I go, well, oh, okay. So we agree, spend the money. Both those tests showed cognitive improvement in essentially under 45 minutes. Now, the mechanism of action on that is something that, that could be a further study down the road, but there's something in the ambertose, whether it's the acetylation that occurs for ace-mannan, something on the aloe, or is it something on the arabinogalactan, something like that. But, because of that, there's a cognitive support claim that, supports that, you can get a cognitive boost, some relatively quick with that formulation. And it's one of those things, if both the universities showed that same result. And so it came back, it would, absolutely incredible, because I knew it had prebiotic effects and things like that that's going to help the gut and the digestive and the immune system from that. But, that's the thing when, Rolando put that in there and he put that study design, it was just, it was a wow factor. So as far as, the studies, and so what I think we're going to see coming forward in future studies is it's really going to be based probably around the glycans. And I say glycans, and it's one of the terms that Mannatech's going to start using more because it's a little bit more specific. We did coin the term glyconutrient, and that's beneficial sugars. We've all heard that, and and that's come along. But then glycan actually has a biochemistry definition, and it's now known that these are the saccharides combined with the proteins or lipids that sit on the outside of cells for communication and things like that. So that's kind of where I see future studies, things like that, focusing on that, maybe focusing on things of the gut brain axis, because that's another huge area where that's where it's we're certainly gonna be able to show that ambertose itself and the ingredients in ambertose have a multifunctional. They don't just do one thing. They do a lot of different things for cognitive. They do stuff for immune system. They do stuff for cellular communication and things like that. And if kind of a snapshot of the future, I know one of the things that you're that certainly going to hear from like Landon Frederick and things like that is the term of a multi-glycan, if you haven't heard that already. And that's really a lot of that is to tie into, I'll say, like a multivitamin, where people are familiar. Multivitamins are good. They understand, okay, vitamins, minerals, I got that. That's simple. And that's where we want to move to eventually, is to get people to say, okay, yeah, a multi-glycan, make it, a household type of thing that's known, because, you can have your multivitamin and you have your vitamins and minerals and things like that. But then your glycans, if you don't support that particular area of need, what that does is just to give an example, kind of think and imagine how your day would go if your Wi-Fi and your internet access, phones, anything, radio, nothing worked, no forms, and you weren't able to communicate in any way. Your communication system was down. Okay. That's the role that glycans play. Okay. So most definitely you're going to want to support that role that communicates your body what to do, because you can take that multivitamin and the cells could pass one another. And if they're not communicating, that cell's not going to be saying, hey, I need some vitamin A, I need vitamin D. I got, I got a little problem here, send me somewhere to get me, fixed, and that's the thing, where support, that's what the Ambertos, product is gonna provide the body, is that glycan support. And then the cells and everything else is going to do the communication and everything like that. So that's where it's, it's it's so important, and we have such a unique story there to tell it, that that's another thing that sets us apart, because even what I'm seeing here in the US, there's a lot of companies that are focusing on antioxidant health for cellular health. They may even be going on, telomeres for chromosomes and things like that. But, nobody's telling the story. No one's showing the need for glycan support. Is you got to give your body the raw materials so your cells can build these communication centers on the outside of on the outside of their cell. So that's kind of where I see things going in the future.
And is it easy? Is there an easy explanation for the differences between in Australasia we have Ambertose Complex and Ambertose Life? There are two options. What, from a scientific perspective, how would you define the difference between them?
So the difference between them, I would say, is it's really going to be minimal. Whereas Ambertose Complex, it's kind of the original one, and then it is also, there was, with Ambertose Life, when you look at the products, some of the biggest differences are, okay, and this is again, go back, Ambertose Complex has a rice starch, and the Ambertose, or I'm sorry, the Ambertose Complex, yeah, Ambertose Complex has a rice starch, and the Ambertose Life has a rice bran type of a fiber in it. And, that's one of the things, a rice bran, a fiber powder like that, hey, that's definitely healthy and things like that. And it also has a fucoidan aspect to it. Whereas, some people do well with fucoidan, some people don't, and so there's that. But fucoidans are, important. Still, the complex has a fucose component in the gum tragacanth. It actually is entwined a fucose sugars in there. But that's the difference. And one of the things, and Dr. Nugent's done a lot of studying, and because he's always asked on that question, and they've even, they've shown some beneficial uh results on just basic plant polysaccharides, such as a pure rice starch that we use. It's actually an amylopectin is the type of, it's kind of the scientific name for it. We have to put rice starch on the label for regulatory reasons. But so there's been studies on there that have shown benefit. I'll go ahead and admit now that this is kind of a one of those things. If you want to know an inside Mannatech secret, is we did a clinical a while. It's been a while ago, and we were like, well, okay, we were thinking, rice starch. It's that it's kind of just a filler, is what and everything like that. So we use that as a placebo. And we got some results that shown just from the placebo. So that's, yeah, so, so there is, it's not just an ingredient in there as a filler. It has a function. It's going to play a role. It's really going to play a role, I think, in the small intestine, possibly even down through the large intestine. It's one of the ingredients that, we looked at possibly switching out because we might have been concerned about a glycemic response. But in all the clinicals that we've run on complex, we've never shown an increase in blood sugar. There's never been any type of really increase in it. So it's a polysaccharide that's doing what we want it to do with some benefits. So, that's that's the story on that. There's differences. People should get very good benefits from either one. But that's just my knowledge on what the differences are between the two.
And is there any documented mechanism about how these glycans affect cells or transfer into inside cells?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Because it's one I like to talk about on, okay, the cells themselves. When you if gosh, here at least in the States, you took basic biology in high school and in college and everything like that. There's an organelle inside the cells that's called the Golgi apparatus. And all you really had to know about it in high school is, hey, it kind of looked like a flat stack of pancakes. And what did it do? It did cellular processing. Okay. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Well, that's really where these components, these sugars, go and actually get, turned into whatever glycan they need to be turned into. They get attached to other glycans, they get attached to proteins, they get attached to fats, lipids, different things like that with all sorts of configurations. And then, goes to endoplasmic reticulum, all that stuff, and it puts them on the outside of cells. So it's really a validation through true basic biology, as this is a cellular processing that your science teacher was talking about. It's actually taken saccharides. They may not have known it at the time, because that's, it's an extremely complex process, but that's really where a lot of what goes on when you talk about glycans and the cells manufacturing glycans, putting them together, that's what it's going to be, where it's going to be occurring in the cell.
Wow. And so my history is I was a registered nurse, so I remember all those pancakes and inside cells that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm getting an unstable internet connection message here, so apologies. There are a few questions in the chat. What is gamma oryzanol in rice bran? I don't know how to say that.
Oh, it's just it's a beneficial component. It will probably have some things that, it could be antioxidant, polyphenolic things, where, on labels that we'll see in Australia and compared to the US, we may just be able to label something rice bran. But sometimes that's where the TGA, it's going to require that we label a little bit more detail if there is a compound or structure or something in there.
Yeah, okay, great. And there's some real standing warriors here today. That we used to do some benchmark with our products and the scientific testing against other competitive products. Have we stopped doing that for a reason, or?
Yeah, one of the things with that is litigation. Is to do that thing, is you always open yourself up for litigation from that other company. And it's also,
Some of it frivolous, right? Just a waste of money.
yeah, and so there's dealing with that. And also, it's one of those things when we compare, products, and we've, there's been we'll compare them and we'll show that our product did superior. It beat theirs.
Yeah.
But then their product will show, well, Mannatech showed that our product did better than placebo. So ours is still a good product, and everything, but it's not as good as Mannatech. But then, they might have a price difference or something like that. And so it's really, what Mannatech wants to focus on is the benefit of what
Yeah.
Mannatech's product do, and not give any type of credence to any other product.
Yeah.
What we would want them to do is say, okay, go spend your own hundreds of thousands of dollars and then get a result that's half of what Mannatech got, instead of us, bearing that financial burden and providing that type of information. So it's kind of a twofold thing. If you really show something detrimental, could possibly get sued. And then, it's if there's a company out there and they want to, step up, have them pay for the clinicals and do it, and not just do the clinical, but do it in a way that it actually gets published, because that's where the scrutiny is going to come in, is where you get it published. You're going to have a dozen or so PhDs reviewing this, scrutinizing it, asking you questions and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's best to focus on how good we are than and not muddy the water, give it
Yeah.
any opening for controversy.
Yeah.
Because it sticks, doesn't it? It's weird how society is these days. There's also multiple questions, which just about every speaker gets. Where's Mannatech Science? When is it coming back? The website.
Yeah, that's one thing. Mannatech Science, it'll be something that comes back. We're looking at something, I would say it might be more AI, generated, things like that, to progress it
Yeah.
forward with the times and things like that. But kind of one of the things that, to go along with, Mannatech Science, is what's available, out there on, I'll just say, the internet in general, is there is a lot of good data. And one of the things that I would say that we're also going to push from corporate is the people educating themselves. Even the stuff that I say on here, it's one of those things, and especially with some of the scientists that have popped up in recent years, that they're not really the most credible. And it's frustrating, as a scientist, to where I say now, don't believe the scientist, believe the science. So go out there, find the science yourself, with the chat GPTs and the AIs. It is so easy to generate that information yourself and see it, pop up with National Institutes of Health. It says this. A lot of reliable data is out there, and it's for the person that can they can educate themselves and say, they go back through this video and say, oh, Tait was talking about the Golgi apparatus and this and that, was he right? Or what, or is there more information on it, that sort of thing, and use those things that are already out there as a resource to gain a further understanding of the science. Or if they want to dig deeper into what actually is going on, that's really where we want, is people educating themselves, and then people encouraging other people to do their own education as well.
That's an awesome answer. Another one is, are glycans involved in cellular reproduction?
Cellular reproduction, I would say it's more, cellular reproduction is more a focus on DNA, and I'll say there are sugars and stuff in DNA and RNA and everything like that, but they're not necessarily glycan based. So it's one of those things. I'll say it's very, very closely related, because the your DNA is going to determine how your cells are going to put together the glycans and things like that. So, it's kind of like, DNA is a set of instructions, and these glycans are basically the communication of how to operate the instructions. That type of relationship.
And see if there's any knowledge yet about prolonged use of glycans and any impact on, say, irregular deficient chromosome situations.
Yeah, with that, I haven't seen any research on it. There certainly could be, but really where we've focused on glycans is the communication, the cellular communication. and the prebiotic fiber gut brain access area. But there are still, I mean, there's a whole host of glycans that are going to be used in other aspects and things like that. Because and that's just, probably, one of the most profound, prolific things is we're just at the tip of the iceberg with
Knowledge.
what we have and what we know and what's being proven daily, that sort of thing. So it's you know and that's where, going forward, the science is exciting. It may be a little bit dry to read, but it certainly is to, finally, be getting this understanding, because for those of y'all that have been with the company for decades, we were operating this stuff off a theory. This was our theory. This is what we were going, as everything. And then other, science is carried forward, and it's, these glycans and the sugars, they're important for your, gut health. They're important for cellular communication. They're important for immune function and everything like that.
Couple questions again on the Mannatech side aspect. Do we just still have a global advisory board?
That's one of the things coming forward in the future that we're going to I'll say, I don't know, but we don't have one right now because of the need to kind of rebalance and move forward with what move forward with, how the direction Mannatech's going. And I'll kind of say that in a way that, the Global Scientific Advisory Board we had before was great. All those men and women, great scientists. We'll probably have a few of them still, that come back and serve on the new board as it's thought through and put together more. But what we're wanting to do is put together a board that is kind of focused and more experienced on glycan and benefits of glycans. And that way, they can help us design these studies so we can see the results that we want to get. And we're also looking at scientists that are very reputable, but they have an influencer base to where they could go out there and then, they could talk about glycans, products, things like that. And it's not just, one or two people they're talking to. They're talking to thousands potentially. And that's one of the things, that is also, I don't I don't do the business building calls and things like that. But one of the things that really I see for, what is positioning Australia and Australia, Asia, even outside of that, is, just like, on this call, everything like that, when people get an invite from you, Sharon, or hey, we're gonna have this meeting, that, it's when your name pops up, it's kind of your brand is there. They have a feeling that, that's, hey, that's it. Sharon has a brand, and all the people on this call, they have their own brand that, hey, I've posted stuff on the internet before, get more active and involved and say, hey, I took this multivitamin catalyst and it was great. And, really use their base that they have already, even though it may not have been for really influencer marketing, but to be able to turn it into influencer marketing and, talk about, just a product, simple multivitamin product to make it easy, things like that. So that's big areas that, we want to, move to globally. And so we want to kind of incorporate some of that. That's what we're looking to on the scientific board as well. Have a couple of just true scientists, research scientists, and then have some that also have, some type of following. But, it's for the people on this call, each and every one of you have a brand. It's not a logo or anything like that, but you have your brand, because when your name pops up on someone's screen that, so and so, hey, they just did a post, it's going to elicit a feeling, someone's going to go, oh, I can't wait to see that because they're always hilarious, or, oh, that sort of thing. Or if someone got something from me, someone's going to say, oh my gosh, Tate's talking about aloe again, and that sort of thing. So, each person has their unique brand, and that's what Mannatech wants to encourage, going forward, is use what you have, use your brand already, and to influence these products and things like that.
Mm. It's I mean, humanity deserves Ambertos and Ace Mannon to not be the best kept secret any longer, doesn't it? Like we need to use what strategies the modern world
Yes.
requires to get these. So there's still some a real plea to make sure that we still have a Mannatech science site that has all the studies in one place to make it
Mm-hmm.
really easy, to refer people to. So if you have any influence in those decisions, there's a plea here.
All
And
right,
and
right.
are you able to tell us any current studies happening?
Current studies, right now, everything is still in what I would call a preclinical type of of phase, where we're deciding where best to allocate the dollars,
Yeah.
because we see, there's, it's gosh, I mean, we we know we could even show good results on our multivitamin. Great results there. We could show great results. I mean, on a product like superfoods, that is a product that, that is a product to me that is, it's really prime for someone or a group of people to get a hold of that product and turn it into something fantastic, because it could be comboed. This is an example. It could be comboed with a multivitamin, because a lot of people will take a multivitamin. A lot of people need support methylating, kind of a scientific term there, methylating certain vitamins and things like that in the product. And the superfoods product has an ingredient called betaine, or it's might be labeled on your labels as trimethylglycine, that supports the methylation process in the body. And it's extracted from beets and everything like that. And that's just the thing, you could recruit people to say, well, I already have a multivitamin that I'm taking. Well, okay, make that multivitamin work better. That sort of thing, with the support for cellular methylization and things like that. And that methylization is important in a lot of the B vitamins to get them to convert and things like that. So, it's gosh, we just got a lot of good products that I know people are going to do amazing things with.
Awesome. And have you run up, this is quite common in the industry, there's someone commenting, how does Mannatech guard against potential conflicts of interests when partnering with these people that have bigger brands?
Oh, I would say, I'm not really a lawyer or legal in that. But as far as partnering, with influencers, things like that, it's something that, I'd say that most definitely, Mannatech being the public company that it is, it would have, protections and things like that
Yeah.
in the legal agreements, same thing, same, I'll say, type of ingredients where, same type of deal where we have with our manufacturing companies, that,
Mm.
if we say, when we put together this formula and, this is going to be our, they're kind of locked into confidentiality, that they're not going to go mass produce that
Yeah.
somewhere else. So, it's something where, and I'll say it is going to be a very select process, if because it's these people really, that, if we do have someone as a info, they've got to be bought into Mannatech.
Yeah.
I mean,
Heart and soul,
yeah,
right? It's
I mean,
the
yeah,
heart
I
and
mean,
soul company.
and that's, I mean, because the group
Mm.
I'm surrounded, my science group, I've been here 22 years. My lead engineer was hired the same week. She's been here 22 years. And there's our other safety monitoring person's been here 26, and our QA person, I think 25, just crossed the. I mean, so it's a thing that, you know, we are here because I mean, we see the other products out there on the market. Some of them, there's good products, but they're not Mannatech.
Mm.
And we're bought into Mannatech. We believe that, you know, our sales model is what it needs to be, because, hey, you know, glycans, to me, that's not something that's going to sell on a retail shelf. You're going to have to get in front of people, whether it be, you know, one-on-one, face-to-face, or in front of them on a computer screen, and say, man, this is the stuff that goes through the cells and it gets put on the outside of cells. You got to give your body that support so it can properly communicate, and, you know, and things like that. And, you know, and then, you know, send them home, you know, with the homework assignment and say, hey, you know, go Google this stuff, see, you know, and they're gonna pull up stuff that's absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, and it's the stuff that, you know, it's you know, it's like right now, it's really a time of a lot of vindication for Mannatech, because, you know, we might have
Theories are
missed some
proven.
things
Yeah.
and like that, but we're right. I mean, it's this is, you know, these ingredients, these products are important to maintain your health.
Mm.
And you know, and with, you know, the Western diet, the foods that are being processed today, you know, these aren't commonplace things that the body
Nutrient
gets, you
food.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last question was going to be what's in your heart to share with people today, but that's so heartfelt. You're like the
But
heart and soul of Mannatech, Tait. So
part of it, you know, I would say I do appreciate being on this call. That's what I mean. It, you know, the message came in from Kevin, and, you know, I was fumbling with my phone to say yes, yeah, you know, as quickly as I could, because I was like, you know, because I know Kevin knows a lot of people, and he's probably gonna, you know, he's gonna fill the spot, and I want it. But that, and, you know, for you guys to know that even here in the science area, we know you guys got a tough job,
mm,
that it is hard going out there and facing rejection, and to still get up and do it because you believe in the health of the people. And that's why we're here.
yeah, I couldn't have said it better, Tait. You know, that's it, people need and deserve for us to be brave enough to share this message, because glycans should be in every household and every child, every
Exactly.
adult, every, you know, people
Yeah.
before they're sick. You know, I came, you know, you came to Mannatech in a defining moment, business wise or science wise, right, with that previous experience of what you developed. Mine was a health dividing moment, and I made a
Mhm.
decision, you know, I was kicking and screaming with a nursing background to figure out that nutrition had anything to do with what was going on with my health.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm 26 years now, and, you know, I Mannatech is always mine. So
Yeah.
God bless you, Tait.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing is, hey, I came in here as Mannatech's biggest skeptic, and I'm its biggest believer.
Man.
And it's, yeah, over 2 decades, no doubt.
Well, you've got at least an annual booking in Australasia now, Tait. I hope you realize
Oh,
you're not going to get away from us.
all right.
All right. Have a wonderful Friday evening and weekend. And thank you. And God bless.
Yes. Thanks to all y'all. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everyone.